and welcome to another episode of The Real Franchise. This episode is going to be a little bit different. My name is Justin Kelly. I'm one of the owners of the company, and part of what I do is meet with people who are looking at transitioning. And today, we're going to jump into looking at transitioning. This whole series of The Real Franchise is brought to you by James Home Services Australia, and I'm joined today by Bella, one of our head office team. Hello, Bella.
Hello, Justin.
And you and I work together in the team that work with people transitioning from all sorts of different walks of life. But you yourself, today I want to sort of talk a bit about what you transition from, because specifically we want to talk about some of what it's like transitioning out of the ADF. So you came out of the ADF. Would you mind sharing, I guess, what you did, where you were based, that sort of thing, if that's okay?
Yeah, absolutely. So I enlisted in 2017 in March. So it's coming up to 10 years ago now, as a driver. And I joined straight out of high school. And my first posting was 7 ARIA in Adelaide. Then I moved to 9 CISB. Then I've been to 13 CISB in Perth, and 8 OSU in Bendigo. So I've done a few units, done a few postings. I did just under 4 years full time, and then I transitioned to active reservist, and I'm currently serving as an active reservist now. Yeah.
Excellent. Awesome. And I guess, what did you enjoy most about the role? Because very different to what you do now.
Yeah, very different. Quite a few things. I really liked, as a transport or as a truck driver, you get to work with all different corps within defence. The job is very versatile. You get to do a lot of different things, a lot of different challenges, and just, loved kind of traveling around and learning different skills and challenging myself. Also the team as well, being with mates and the mateship and stuff. Yeah, it's quite a few things I loved about it.
So when you transitioned out, what was that like? Because you wouldn't have walked into a similar type environment with the mateship and camaraderie and...
Yeah. So when I transitioned, it was, when I realized that I didn't want to be in defence full time anymore, it was a daunting kind of thought, because I joined straight out of high school. I was living with my parents up until the point I enlisted. So I went from living at home to then going full time into defence. And when you're full time and you're living on base, there's still rules, there's structure, there's people kind of looking out for you. So you're still kind of protected. And the thought of kind of branching out into something completely different, it was, and with very little civilian experience. I had never lived on my own, been out in the real world. I kind of felt, it was quite daunting, thinking about moving and branching away from what I knew.
Yeah. So how did you know what to do next? What direction did you take?
Well, I guess I was pretty lucky that, I grew up around animals. I always had a passion for animals. So I kind of knew the direction I wanted to go after defence. I knew I wanted to work with animals. But I spent a lot of time working out the logistics of actually what that would look like for me. At the time when I discharged from full-time service, I was in Adelaide. So I was separated from all my civilian friends and family. At the time, my partner was posted in Perth. So I was very alone, I felt like. And my whole support system was my work, my in defence was my unit. Yeah. So for me to be able to actually consider stepping away from that support system that I had in Adelaide, there was a lot of logistical things I had to work out. So I did a lot of research. I was looking into all the possible opportunities, because a lot of things that I thought that, a lot of opportunities that would work with animals needed further education, needed time of study, you needed to study, there was a lot of hurdles that I didn't really, it was daunting, and I put it off a lot because I'm like, there's no way I could study here. I don't know what I would do. I don't know where I'd start. Where would I live if I, got out of defense? So yeah, I loved researching everything, writing everything down, looking at the whole picture, what it would actually look like, and just kind of taking one step at a time. Like, firstly, where would I live? Where would I study? What would I have to do? How long would that take? And then what's the job that I want in the end? So it's just kind of
working out pieces.
Once I got to that decision of something needed to change, I needed to change and transition, then it was just like, okay, what's the next little step? And just gathering as much information as I can, really.
So I guess what surprised you the most about civilian life? What was the biggest shock?
I think what surprised me, I don't think there wasn't really a surprise. It was a very different environment because I spent a lot of time living on base when I was in defense. So I did feel quite separated from the rest of the world. Everything that you need is there. You eat at the mess, you go to the gym there, all your friends are there. There's that you don't, unless you go out for shopping, and that's about it. So I think adjusting to just how many opportunities and how big the rest of the world is once you take the blinders off. I think that's kind of maybe what surprised me, is just all the different opportunities out there. There's so many different opportunities to go down, to study, to learn, to do. So,
So you spent all this time working out your next step.
Yep.
And so you went down the animal, looking after animals, those sort of things.
Yeah, vet nursing. Yeah.
Yeah, vet nursing. And is that where you're still? So
No.
Your first decision didn't end up being final decision?
No, it didn't. I'm 27 now, and I've had 3 very different careers. I've had very different jobs. And what I've found is that, my needs for a career change as I get older. I'm looking for different things out of life. So when I enlisted in defense, I knew I wanted to get out of my small hometown. I knew I didn't want to go to university, and I knew I wanted to do something that would challenge me.
Yeah.
And then I got to a point where defense wasn't serving me anymore. Like it wasn't filling my cup the way that it was when I first started.
Yeah.
I needed something different from my career to help me feel like my life is keeping up with what I'm, when I'm growing up, my changes and things. So then I looked into something that was different, that would, fulfill my needs for a career in a different way, which was, spending time with animals and following that passion. And then I did that for about 5 years.
Yeah.
And then I realized that career, it wasn't serving what I needed out of life. The work-life balance wasn't there. There was, I was struggling with it emotionally. There's a lot of difficult days as a vet nurse, and I just didn't find it sustainable as a long-term career. So then, I have a passion for helping people, which I found through vet nursing, because it is very, very people orientated. You are working with animals, but you are really working closely with their owners as well. And I found I kind of got drawn to that side of it as well. And so, as I grew up and I changed, so did my jobs.
Yeah. So looking at all of that decision-making process and researching that you've done, for anybody listening to this that might be coming, in defense and looking at transitioning, any sort of advice or things you look back, lessons you've learned through that process itself?
I think take the blinkers off, take the blinders off, especially when you're in defense. There's such a clear path in front of you for like what the next step would be. You've got a clear rank system. You know exactly where, if you want to progress, you just follow the path and you know exactly what needs to happen to get there. And the blinders are strong there. They are very strong. So it's familiar. It's a known path. You see people do it. You know exactly what needs to happen to get there. But as soon as you kind of take off the blinders and you look around at all of the other possible opportunities, even things that are so out of the norm for you. I mean, I grew up in a small hippie town and I joined the Defense Force. Like it was so out of character for me to do that. But it literally set me up for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So, you know, as soon as you start considering opportunities and just exploring those options with no pressure, just learning about things, whatever that might look like to you, it just expands your horizons. And I just think there's knowledge is power. So take the blinders off and start learning about all the possibilities is probably my
awesome
advice. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you moved then out of vet nursing and you've joined our team. Mm-hmm. So I guess, would you mind sharing a bit about your role today and what you do? And because you're working with people every day that are looking at transition.
Yeah. So there's a common theme throughout all of my jobs. I've been serving the country. I've helped animals and now I'm helping people. And a big part of my job here is helping people do their research and explore possible options. It's really problem solving. I speak to people that have problems that, you know, need a change, and it's kind of my job to help support them figure out what that change looks like for them. Yeah. And I take people through the information process just like you do.
Yep. And I guess what sort of problems do you help walk them through? Like, what are some of the common things that you hear from people, you know, in a first conversation in a phone call?
Oh, the most common thing that I hear so often is, I just want more time with my family, or I want more control over my schedule. I'm sick of working for someone and, you know, being told that I have to spend majority of my week away from my kids and my family. Like it's, people are seeing a lot, the value of family time over, you know, a salary now. So it's that's probably one of the common things. Or just, you know, I'm sick of making money for other people. I want to put my own efforts into my own income. Those are probably the two most common conversations I have.
Yeah. And I guess with what we do, obviously we help set people up in a supported business so that they are in control of their time and can have time with family and get their priorities in order. So what's the process sort of look like? What do you do with people? So we're just talking about this initial phone call you have. What happens after that if they think, hey, this could be something worth exploring?
Yeah, so the first phone call is really to find out if what we're offering aligns with what the inquirers are looking for. And the next step after that is to really go into detail about how our business model actually works, give them the full picture so that they have a clear picture on what it would look like if they did run a business with James, and a bit more of a timeline as well as to what to expect in the next few steps. And it's really just to further their research so that they can also fully understand how it all works. And if now is a good time to start a business.
Yeah. So why I hear this word a lot in this conversation so far, research. Why is that so important?
Oh, it's so important to get all of the facts.
Yeah.
And to make an educated decision on, you know, what the next right step would look like for you.
Yeah.
I think doing your research, a lot of people are, I guess there's a fear of making the wrong decision. And I think that really holds a lot of people back. And the way that you kind of take away that fear of the wrong decision or the fear of the unknown is to purely just learn about it. Do as much research as you can, because that will that will help you move forward with more confidence. And it will also, it will just help you figure out if it's actually the right path for you or not.
Yes.
Yeah.
So true, isn't it? The biggest answer to fear is information and knowledge.
Yeah, correct.
So, yeah. And then we can, if we are scared, like particularly for people that are looking at transition, coming out of the ADF or out of FIFO work or whatever, that fear, often I find people then just go into a job and feel like they're stuck in a rut. And then we hear years on, like the next part of the process that we take people through is where they get to meet some of our business owners. And I was in one of those meetings just the other night, and the guys were all going, man, I wish I had done this 20 years ago, just because of the freedom and flexibility and stuff that they have been able to work for themselves. And yet, and this is what they were talking about to people who were looking at our business, is going, we got stuck in a rut because I was too scared. I don't know about a business. I don't know how to run a business. I don't know how to do.
The blinkers are on.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you do your research, there's organisations like ours that are out there to help you get through that. So I guess just sort of coming toward the end of this discussion, through this whole journey now, looking back over the last few years of exiting the ADF and where you are now, I guess, are there any key things that you've learned little gems that you can pass on to someone who's looking at starting the process themselves?
Yeah, I think the main thing that I think looking back is that you don't have to have all of the answers straight away.
Yeah.
You don't have to put that pressure on yourself to make that decision instantly. I think a decision like starting a business, there's so many steps involved to actually fully understand if it's the right fit for you. So I think be open and just take the first step without any pressure on yourself, just to learn about the possibilities and to explore all of your options, and just and talk to people. That's the best way to do the research, I find. Actually ask questions and get real life experience answers back to really help you in your research. And again, I said it so many times, don't just follow the path because it feels familiar.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to look at what you actually value in life and find a career and a job that aligns with that. And in your values and what you need out of life, it changes as you get older. And as that's what's happened to me. So don't be like, transitioning and change is a normal part of life. And so I think leaning into that and exploring all the options and not just staying in the spot that feels familiar is probably one of the best things that I didn't do.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Got a really big question now. So we're specifically talking about transitioning and possibly getting into your own business. Now you speak to, well, between us, we speak to 100 plus people a week that apply. So we speak to a lot of people, and we take a small percentage of those people right through the process and see them start. So from those that you've seen go through the process, start and have a good business, is there any key things? So someone sitting here doing their research and they're thinking, but am I really, do I have what it takes? Do I have the characteristics needed to have a successful business? Are there any characteristics that you see in people that you've walked through or that already have successful businesses with us? Is there anything that stand out, characteristics?
I think people who are curious and people who ask questions are the main people that really succeed as business owners, because they're not just assuming things. I think it's important to ask the questions, be curious about about what it would look like, about how it works. Even as a business owner, asking questions to your business coach and exploring all options. People who are open-minded as well are really and just willing to learn from people who have done it before, I think are key qualities of successful business owners. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I guess any final pieces of advice that you could pass on to anyone that's looking at transitioning out of the ADF?
Just that uneasy feeling that comes with change is normal.
Yeah.
That gut-wrenching, gut-turning feeling of, I don't know what's around the corner, and that's scary. That is so normal.
Yeah.
And like we said, the way to combat that is through research. So, you know, even if you're uncertain if this is the right option for you, you're only going to benefit from researching it.
Right. Absolutely. And that's your role. You're here to help someone research.
That's my role.
Call Bella. She can
call
help
me.
you. That's it. Great. Well, thank you so much for your time, Bella. That's been great. And I guess the key takeaways are just that if you're going through that journey of transition, just take time to do your homework, ask the questions. And we have a saying in James, don't we? Questions times 10. There's always, more, and really evaluate the answers. Don't take things on face value, because there's some great opportunities out there if you take the blinkers off.
That's right. Yeah.
I love that. I'm going to use that. The blinkers a bit more. So very good. Thank you. And I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Real Franchise. If you've got any comments or any questions or anything you'd like us to talk about, feel free in the comment section below to make your comments, and we hope you join us for the next episode of The Real Franchise. Have a good day.